Hey, everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
me, Banshee,
And this.
Sunny,
And that.
and that's Sunny. And Bly is in the background behind me. Never fear, Bly is here because this is your weird week. Welcome to it.
And we try to go over things that we find the cards are showing us about the state of the world, the state of the nation, what's going on, and what are the possible solutions or interactions associated with that.
We go over last week's cards and then we throw some new cards for the week ahead to see where things might be going.
So let's do that review of last week.
Yeah, let's do that review of last week. It was quite the mix of cards. Kind of left us sometimes a bit scratching our heads, but not completely. Let's take a look. Okay, so I think that reading was from September 17 through 24 or 18 through 24.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
Card 1, which is the major focus tone for last weird week, was the Devil reversed.
Right, the Devil reversed. So much to look at with that, Usually it talks about people who are freeing themselves from bad situations, from their worst behaviors, or literally possibly being entrapped in certain ways.
It's breaking free from something that was restricting you, holding you back. The best thing a couple of things that we could come up with here, and one might be a reach, but I'll let Mr. O talk a little bit about the strikes, and I feel here, well, I'll interject one thing. I do have a thought on the strikes. You will, I'm sure, have some on what I'm going to bring up. But, with the strikes here, UAW workers feels the time was right. They went on strike. They're sticking to their demands. They've even brought in the strike in the last week. So they feel like they're breaking the chains of corporate, speak and just accepting what corporate is offering them, without a fight because they feel they deserve more.
In some ways, the Devil reversed is a pretty cool metaphor for this process that's going on with the strikes and with offers being made and then easily rebuffed or counter remanded with maybe less than satisfactory. And that is the idea that maybe somebody feels like they know the score. Like when, the Devil's reverse, it's kind of like saying, I figured it out and I can save myself. I can pull myself out of my addictions or my oppressions or whatever it is. And so perhaps what this symbolizes is the people who are striking realizing that they kind of have the power here and that they've been, entrapped in a situation for a long time, and now they feel like they can liberate themselves.
And it's not just the UAW, the
right.
screenwriters have been out for a long time, and finally we see there is progress in their negotiations. Real progress. It looks as though that strike might be coming to an end soon. So kudos to the writers, for holding out and getting something that they can live with.
Now, didn't we also think that it could apply to the government shutdown?
We did. Now, this is a little bit of a reach with this card for me because, the Devil reversed is generally a positive card. Well, you know what? What's positive for some people is not necessarily positive for others.
Oh, true.
And what I'd like to highlight here with the possible government shutdown because our representatives in Congress can't get their act together, the bottom line is that the very right wing of the Republican Party is feeling their power right now. They know that they can bottleneck this whole process, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're demanding stuff, even though, the Democrats own the Senate, the Democrats own the presidency. But this small minority of Republicans in the slightly, Republican, how should I say this, Republican-dominated House of Representatives, they have a majority by a slim margin, not a real huge margin. They're bottlenecking this, and they could cause the government to shut down. And Kevin McCarthy, the speaker, keeps capitulating to them because he doesn't want to lose his speakership. They could throw him out. And so he has given in a lot to their demands and put things in legislation that no Senate is going to pass.
Well, when we think about these things from the very moribund, protocol-driven, rules of engagement-driven procedures of these governing bodies, certainly we can't say the devil is in the details. But that's what the problem is. We no longer have, or we haven't for a long time, simple majorities being able to carry motions and bring legislation to, the floor, et cetera, et cetera. So what happens is this is a sense of power, but in whose hand? And is it in the rightful hands?
They're breaking the bonds of decorum. They're breaking the bondage. They feel all this stuff stifles, but rules are rules. And these things, these functions happen this way for a reason. Now there's chaos. So we'll have to see where things are going. Let's look at card 2. What will we find out or see? And that card was
the Nine of Wands reversed.
Boy, oh boy. Well, let me start by just saying, with as far as the government shutdown goes, the white flag has been raised in a way by a number of people. They're giving up. They realize that this is probably going to shut down if Kevin McCarthy can't pull these people together. Maybe Kevin McCarthy's quit. He doesn't say so, but he is acting, like everything's going to be okay in the end, with no plan or idea how he's going to get there. So I feel here, he's at the whims of these people. He's also at the whims of what other conservative Republicans are going to do in the face of all this.
It almost feels like the Nine of Wands is really not these government buffoons acting out, but the rest of us who are saying, like, well, what are we going to do?
We can't do anything.
We can't do anything. We have no power here.
Yeah. So it's really kind of spooky. Card 2 for the unions, Mr. O, and the strikes.
Well, I'm on less firm ground there, but I suppose that this is talking about, maybe possibly bringing us closer to some amount of actual negotiations, renegotiations. But it feels like maybe somebody, whoever that is starting to sense that they are not able to keep up their end of it, that they are actually losing in this.
The white flags are obviously positive in this case, in my opinion, because what it means is each side probably gave in a little bit to reach an agreement they could both live with. So that's what I'm thinking maybe the white flag of surrender means. But you also brought up something about, like, there was a situation with Drew Barrymore.
Oh, yeah.
Who was going to run her show despite the strikes. And she got a lot of bad stuff, bad
she got called
PR.
Out. She got called out big time.
She got called out. And, she decided to change her mind and not do her show until the strike was over. So there's all of that about white flags. And card 3 is judgment. Judgment upright.
What other perspectives to be considered?
And we look at both sides of that card because it is the tarot of oppositions. But to be fair about it, judgment, the positive judgment, was upright. So I feel that gets some, some extra chops here.
Mm-hmm.
So what other perspectives need to be considered?
Well,
that there are good actors and bad actors. Didn't we talk about that?
Right. And some people feel that maybe something really game-changing could happen that would kind of clear the decks for action. But some people feel that maybe that could happen in an inverse way and, create, whole seasons that go by without, TV shows being done, movies being written, things like that. Pay attention.
I am paying attention. I agree with you. Judgment, too, the good actors and the bad actors are the people who really want to try to find something that all can agree upon. Give enough, take enough, to be satisfied. And the other thing about judgment is, there are people who really want to be a part of the solution. Let's put it that way, and those that want to be part of the problem. And we see that in particular with the shutdown of government, don't
the
we?
machinations of our elected officials.
What do the people want? Even, those who might be on the, do people all want to see government completely shut down and that a small group of people in the Congress can put their demands over the majorities?
Well, when you look at that inverse side of judgment and you sort of take it as a given that there's a lot of sanctimonious, self-righteous kind of kibitzing going on, like that this is all deserved, that people deserve to have these things happen, all because, well, to be honest, some things that have happened here have shown that the people that are doing this, some of the people that are pressing for this government shutdown, feel that they could defund the trials against Trump and the indicted conspirators from January 6th.
There are actually people who wanted that as part of the negotiations. And we shouldn't even be negotiating this in that manner.
Right.
And that just sounds more like blackmail to me.
Bad governing, totally. And of course, that is the inverse side of judgment, too, in a way.
Card 4, the Sun upright, which is a surprise card in this position. What will the overall impact be? Because some things look pretty hopeless while others are coming around. Like, for example, with the unions, what we're finding out or seeing is some progress.
It could be that, in its aspect of illumination, that there's knowledge coming forth. People are finding out that, of course, CEOs and various other people make hundreds of times more than persons on the line. We're talking union across the board. And these kind of enlightenments, Bernie Sanders is one of those people talking about that. AOC, I think, are helping to spread the consciousness, the illumination process that needs to be that overall impact, that everybody needs to kind of come to that table of understanding that there's a lot of inequity going on with these strikers on all these different jobs and positions and things going on.
Well, as far as the strike goes, I think what we actually find out or see is that there's been progress. Progress has been made. Some light bulbs went off. Some were, able, like with the writer's strike, able to pull things their way. Also, the Canadian auto workers just settled their contract. I think the vote is in. If not, it's very soon, but it is likely going to pass. And this may have an impact, and that's the Ford. I should say it's only for Ford Motor Company. But it passed. And so I think that this might bode well for the UAW, because at least one or a couple other things that the auto workers in Canada were demanding are some things that the auto workers in the U.S. were looking at too. So there's that kind of illumination going on as well. Well, what can you say about the government thing? I think the only light that I see there, number one, is what he spoke about inequities, that we're also seeing the inequities in Congress here, how a small minority of people can wreak such havoc. And they seem to be enjoying doing it rather than truly trying to work on collegiality, collaboration, and working together for a shared, solution. I feel here too with the Sun that we found out that, I had something.
I have a rude question.
Yes.
Do you think any of the shenanigans of Boebert figure into any of this?
No. No.
Maybe those cards will show up this week.
Are you talking about her being exposed? But, no, I don't think so. But that is funny, Mr. O. But I think the Sun here is also saying there's another little piece of light. Some of the Republicans who are not as extreme and know it's in their best interest to politically not to let the government, not to be responsible for their party, for the government shutting down, are thinking of siding with the Democrats to try to get a solution.
Right. Some people have even said, nobody wins. Nobody wins. Whoever does it, and it's usually Republicans, look bad by doing it. Nobody likes it.
Card 5, Mr. O.
Card 5 was the reverse Knight of Pentacles in the position of what could win, or maybe not so much, win the weird week.
Well, we are seeing some positive movement in at least some of the strikes that are going on. It's true. But this whole, I think, it's not winning the weird week because economics is still the issue in the strikes. Ford, GM, and Chrysler, or should I say Stellantis? I'm sorry, I'm still using the old name. Stellantis want to, are kind of towing the line, are just constantly saying, you're asking for too much. You're asking for way too much. But, some of the things that they're not willing to give back are things that the workers gave up when there was an economic downturn and they helped out the company. And frankly, I could see the workers really saying, no, 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 you absolutely have to bring those things back. So I think here we're at a real stalemate. And let's just say this, what's very true about both situations, it's a slow go. The Knight of Pentacles reversed is stagnant, slow, unambitious. In other words, we're just throwing the same kind of offers out there and we're not making any progress. You can say it with the government and you can say it with the strikes.
Yeah, it's like, human constipation in a way that nobody really wants to get it done.
Well, that was kind of lazy.
Stuck. It was.
So let's move on. How about we move on and see what's going to happen in this next weird week.
So what is our major focus? You're going to draw that from us for us from the Twin Tarot Oracle deck.
He is very playful right now, isn't he? Just a minute, Sonny. Let me shuffle, okay? Oh, thank you for that. I shuffled a little before we started, but I should shuffle more now. Oopsie. Oh boy, and let's remind everybody that the government shutdown deadline is this week. Well, it's a star reversed. Replacing the devil reversed. And it's not happier. So it looks like there's a lot of doom and gloom. In other words, just pessimism. There's a sense of, fear about the future and where things are leading. There's a sense of, despair.
This card brings the focus, saying really that it starts off feeling like whatever situations are going on, nothing seems bound to affect it in a more positive manner. And it may be that maybe somebody will also feel that progress is eroding on other matters.
So the star is a card of hope. The opposite of hope is hopelessness. And so that's where we're kind of standing, the focus for the week. Oh, that sure does sound like the government quagmire, but let's...
Yeah, it does.
Even more so, because it seems more epic than the strikes.
Well, this is where it comes down this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so card 2, what we'll find out or see, what are the mysteries that we may find out, and that's from the Secrets Tarot. And we pick the decks we use because we feel that their imagery and symbology will kind of hone in a little bit on what that card or position meaning tends to be about.
Maybe. But we picked my Twin Tarot because we wanted a Major Arcana for the first card, and this is a double Major Arcana deck.
Indeed. So, what will we find out? Well, we find out that there's a Major Arcana for us. It's the Chariot. And so
movement.
So what we may find out is that despite hopelessness, somewhere motivation, movement prevails. Somebody says, gosh darn it, we got to get this thing going. Somebody feels like I can bring these sides together, the hopeless side and the hope side, or the hard right side and the left side, or whatever you want to consider those.
Does the Chariot card there indicate that maybe there'll be some movement in the auto industry, in the auto strikes?
Oh, well, it is a symbolic kind of way of talking about cars as well.
So I wonder about that segment, that maybe things will improve or look like there's been some progress at least.
You know, I often find the Chariot is a good proxy for automobile-related things.
But speaking about the government shutdown, maybe somebody is going to finally make some key moves. Maybe there will be some movement despite the hopelessness. And the only thing that I could see happening is kicking the can down the road a little bit again. Like maybe finally they'll get enough votes to agree to a short-term fix. But that is not going to solve this problem.
And you know, it's interesting too, because of course, government spending in certain areas really is important in the economy, fuels the economy, especially where it befits, you know, some military spending. So this could be a metaphor for that too, that these shutdowns or slowdowns will affect the bottom line sooner than later, no doubt. And so now we're on to card 3, the other perspectives that may be considered. And for that, we use the Tarot of Oppositions. And it's our jointly owned deck. So we're both going to shuffle. And it has similar qualities to the Twin Tarot Oracle deck because it brings the concept of the reversed and upright meanings sort of against each other or into play to some degree.
Sonny, you are not making my life easy here, but you are adorable. He is purring away here. Silly boy. You know you are. And he's saying, why are you shuffling those cards? Pay attention to me. Sonny doesn't want us to have a weird week.
He's going to have a purr week.
He wants a perfect week.
Oh, I can get those from over there.
I know how you pick them up. You always pick them up the same way.
But I would have cut 5 cards deeper.
No, you would not have.
You may draw the card.
Oh, I thank you.
Oh, don't mention it.
Well, it looks like it is the reversed. The reversed 3 of Swords.
Indeed.
Hey, you try to type with him here.
Well, which one is really reversed? Because in a way, the upright one looks like the sadder one usually, doesn't it?
Oh, I screwed up here. Hold on. Go ahead. It is reversed. No, you can. Oh,
well,
I see what you're saying. It's upright.
But it is upright? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
right.
She's despairing. You're right. It is. Okay, whoops. My bad.
But remember, this is a liminal quality card. That the answer could be ranging between those poles there. So what we may discover is that, some of us will feel really afflicted, will feel really painful, like, separated from everybody else in this manner, betrayed in some ways, restricted. And some of us may feel, no, this was meant to happen, that this was meant to heal us or to bring us back together to some degree.
Well, it's upright, and it's sorrow, and it's pain, and it's grieving. Is it, just the despair of Kevin McCarthy failing in his job to get, governance from his Republican Party in the House of Representatives? Is it the people who are going to be affected by a shutdown that will be suffering because they'll have to work, some of them without a paycheck? And the bottom line to me should be, all he's got, well, I'm not even going to go there, but I will. What if these people just said no? Would they lose their jobs? Are they going to have to hire scabs? What would they do if air controllers said, no, I'm not going to work for no money. My job is so stressful. How could you dare ask this of me, you congressman in Washington, who will probably still be getting a paycheck during this shutdown? Am I right?
Ooh.
So the point is, who is going to suffer here and why? Is it the Democratic Party? Will the Republican Party suffer because of, going through this? Will we all suffer just this week while this whole darn thing plays out? I think that could be it too.
You're right. There really is a range towards everyone.
And not only that, if we're looking at the strikes, there will be other worlds of hurt as far as the UAW strikes go. Other companies that are not striking but rely on the auto industry are going to start feeling the pain. They're in day 10 of the strike now. So
it's going to affect everything.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So far, this is what I think we're seeing. All right, card 4.
The overall impact from the Healing Light Tarot.
And that's going to be from Sunny.
Your deck.
My Healing Light Tarot. All right. Wow. I'm glad this is the last deck I have to shuffle here with the room he is allowing me. And the way this camera is today, but I like it because it's all close to me. I can see everything. Sorry, Sonny. I may have to shuffle. No, I got it. Okay. All right.
The overall impact.
I know.
Don't keep us in suspense.
Okay, what is it? It's the 9 of Wands, isn't it?
It's the 9 of Wands.
At first I was confused. I kept looking at those and thinking, are they pentacles? I haven't used this deck, and we only use it on this show recently, so don't use it all the time.
It's the fiery stuff.
It is a 9 of Wands. And you know what? It's upright. And so, the overall impact is fighting. Getting ready for war. Getting ready for rolling up the sleeves and having a knockdown drag out.
Each side is going to dig in.
Each side is going to dig in.
Whether it's the government thing, whether it's the union thing, anything else that this ends up applying to, whether it's, court dramas or whether it's, scientific battles. Russia, Ukraine, yes.
But yeah, I do feel it with either the strikes or the government. It certainly fits as well.
Right, and we think this is most likely about that.
This week is pivotal for that. There is a lot going on in Ukraine-Russia news too. So, maybe as this week goes on, we may revisit this.
That's true.
All right, you're up, Mr. 04.
Card 5. What could win the weird week? And it's the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot.
Get off.
That we seek the card that tells us what's going on.
I have to move you, Sonny. You can't be on my computer. I mean, you were giving me space at least for that before. Jeez. Seven?
It's the reversed 7 of Pentacles. And this almost sounds like, there's agreements are met and that work begins again, that somehow things resolve.
I don't know.
What else could it mean?
Well, to 7 of Pentacles.
Other things grow?
Okay. when it's upright, you're thinking about whether things are going to work out or not, or whether you should abandon your project or just give up. When it's reversed, it's like you need to make a move, but are you going to move back and get to work, or are you going to move on to, or are you going to give up and move away from this?
So it's going to be like a final offer or threat capitulation kind of thing happening, maybe on either end. I could certainly see that happening, maybe with what's going on with the government shutdown.
I could tell you a positive with this card as far as the government shutdown goes. What it might indicate to me is the people who walk away or give up might be the hard right. Maybe they'll have to back down. Or maybe a lot of Republicans will give up on working with their colleagues and move to the other side so we can get the government moving again. So I could see some of those scenarios play out with this kind of card here. As far as the union stuff goes, I like what you said. I mean, it's possible that people could be going back to work again. I'm pretty sure that probably by the end of this week, we will be hearing that the writer's strike is over and they will be going back to work. So I think that's definitely a possibility. So I won't rule that out. I'm just going to keep myself open as to whether this is a bug or a feature, this final card.
Let's do our wrap-up, the review.
Go.
So card 1 was the major focus or theme, and it came from the Twin Tarot Oracle, and it was the star reversed. And we felt this meant that the week starts off with an aura of hopelessness or diminished returns, some sense of sorrow, some sense of feeling like the road is not very clear at all. And of course, this could portend many different situations, certainly what's going on with the strike stuff or the government shutdown stuff.
Absolutely. You know, there's just a lot of despair right now. There's a lot of there's just a lot of pessimism, you know, and whatever side of the fence you're on the right, you're on the left, you're on the far right, you have a lot of pessimism right now about being able to, you know, get your ideas or your policies across. And so there's dismay, there's disharmony. If you're a corporate executive, you know, you're thinking about the lost hours of production and the money and all of that.
Card 2 is the Chariot, and it represented what we'll find out, what are the mysteries that we may find or see. And of course, the first thing was Banshee cleverly pointed out that it could be a metaphor about the auto industry and the strikes going on there.
There might be movement and, you know, positive movement forward on reaching an agreement. As far as the, as far as the shutdown goes, you know, everything has been left in such a stalemate right now. It's hard for me to see a positive other than some alliances might be moving and shifting, and that may end up breaking this logjam if enough movers move.
You know, normally the Chariot, you know, has a sense of dynamics about it, but we could also say too that, you know, in this context, this could just be about the flash of it all, you know, too, the sense of it being symbolically looking like progress is being made, but maybe, you know, not so much still.
Card 3 is the Three of Swords upright, and that, of course, is the other perspectives. There's a world of hurt right now. You know, we're at a loss, and maybe like we both had surmised here. I think it's us. We are the losers here. You know, we have to put up with hearing this in every news cycle about, you know, corporate greed, what's going on with the strikers, you know, unfair labor practices. In the government shutdown, we're hearing about.
Even when you go beyond some of those immediate situations, you're still hearing about really people having a hard time struggling in the economy, even when they're not necessarily directly affected by shutdowns or strikes. You know, people are saying, like, I cannot buy groceries enough. I cannot keep my family well fed enough.
Well, that goes beyond the scope of these two things. But I would say that, you know, clearly the government shutdown is going to potentially hurt a lot of people who won't be getting paychecks. And also with the strike, there's a lot of allied companies that are working with, you know, Jim and that and the auto industry that are not going to get, you know, that are going to have financial difficulties due to the strike. And ultimately, that last card, what could win the weird week? We got the 9 of Wands. People are going to roll up
This is
their
7.
sleeves, or I'm sorry.
Oh wait, this is not the weird week. This is the overall impact.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the overall impact. I'm sorry. Thank you.
It's okay.
What is the overall impact this week?
Well, it's the Nine of Wands, and I guess it really shows that, some people really realize that they are going to have to kind of dig in and fight, so this could be lines in the sand between these forces in the shutdown or in the union squabbles.
Well, the overall impact is people are going to roll up their sleeves and persevere and stand their ground. I feel here that, lines are being drawn and maybe redrawn, but lines are being drawn and, they're going to be holding them, it looks like. Everybody is prepared for a fight.
All right.
And finally,
what could
win or not the weird week? I'm reserved. I don't know if it's a bug or a feature, this card. I liked some of what Mr. O said, and it might indicate to me that Seven of Pentacles, that reversed.
You know what? It's the Seven of Swords.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes everything. Ignore
reversed.
what we said earlier when
Right.
we did the individual card. We're going to have to relook at this. And the Seven of Swords reversed indicates that truths are going to be revealed. Information that's going to come out that's going to enlighten us all for better or worse. But you know what? These truths need to come out.
Right, and it could be things that are going to be affecting what's going on with the shutdowns or the strikes. And I really am sorry about that. I'm not sure why. It's because they use regular card things and I just kind of screwed it up. I'm sorry about that. But that's the Swords.
So it's the Seven of Swords. And we said such good things about the Seven of Pentacles, but at any rate...
Well, this could also be talking about things, too, coming to light that were not really good stuff, too. The idea that maybe people were operating covertly, subversively. Some of this is going to be revealed.
Well, I'm going to take back what I said, though. I think now this could win the weird week. Maybe some of these truths that are going to come out and be revealed will force people to modify their hardline stances. Whether it's in the union battle, in the strikes, or whether it is in the government shutdown.
Well, it has the potential to maybe, bring a more hopeful outlook by the end of the week from what we started with, as well as maybe make the things that feel like are happening with the overall impact a sense of, loss that many people feel. It may be able to put a balm on all of that pain as well. Knowledge is power. And so whatever this is that is coming out, and of course, it's not necessarily limited to the strikes or the government shutdowns. These could be other things that are going on too that are either, related to climate change or related to the war, related to other things going on in our society. Because really, this sort of plays to my nature, the idea that a lot of times we are at the mercy of secrets that are going on governmentally or otherwise. Sorry, I had to put that in there.
I think that's what we have. We made this week even weirder with that little gaffe there, but
I think we recovered.
At least we recovered at the end. But that is the Seven of Swords, and it means something totally different than what we said earlier with the Seven of Pentacles. So just keep that in mind. This is more about, and so I feel, some really important truths being revealed that could maybe be a game changer here.
Right. I mean, I could see, this also being the sense, too, of maybe not just, that secrets come out, but maybe that this really reflects a mass change of opinion held by a number of people that, suddenly a lot of people feel like, I now understand something really differently and fundamental.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. Rather lengthy today. Just want to thank everybody who watches this show and hopefully get something out of this. And if you see any other world scenarios or things that this combination of cards fit, we'd love to hear from you.
We absolutely want to know what you think about all of this.
And we'll see you again next week when we have another Your Weird Week. Take care, everybody.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.